Coming up in the morning edition, the case surrounding exploratory oil drilling headed to court today. Also,
we hope to God that we don't see another circumstance such as COVID-19.
Education officials taking steps to ensure national exams go on as planned in 2021. And
I think it is rather unfair that we have to travel from the island in order to get a passport.
Help on the way for Family Island residents. We've got all of these stories and much, much more when the morning edition comes right back.
First, it's more than just our name, more than just our achievements. It's our nature, and it's where we put our customers. At Bahamas First, we've refreshed our look, but our nature remains the same. We design insurance solutions that protect our customers from life's uncertainties, whatever they may be. We equip you for the future so that you can recover stronger. Bahamas First, what's first for you comes first for us.
Explore the world of agriculture with us. Join me, your host, Carla Palmer, for continued adventures in agriculture and the marine environment as we head into Season 2 of the program, Agriculture Now. That's Agriculture Now, moving to a new date and time, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and Saturdays at 9 a.m., right here on the ZNS Television Network.
As we get set to say goodbye to 2020, wave hello to new opportunities on the horizon in 2021. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thank you so much for tuning in. Taking a look at your weather forecast this morning, a stationary front continues to linger near the extreme southeast Bahamas and will gradually dissipate. Meanwhile, strong high pressure north of the area will generate fresh to strong breezes across the islands today. Today's high temperature will get up to 76 degrees with an overnight low of 63 degrees. Let's take you out to our streets this morning where Lloyd Allen and the morning traffic team is standing by with your Tuesday traffic commute.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Yes, good morning, LaDawn. Good morning, Bahamas. A great start to your Tuesday morning. Your traffic coming in the area of East Bay Street. Of course, we want to advise any driver approaching this area to drive with caution and with care as you make your rounds to your various destinations. This morning, I'm also joined by Sergeant Preston A. Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving us an update on a very busy holiday weekend.
Yes, a pleasant good morning to you and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas. Indeed, we've had a very busy weekend. That's coming out of last night's activities. We had 5 accidents involving injury, 3 accidents involving damage. However, from the Christmas time up until now, we've actually faced a traffic fatality here in the Providence Island. And we're also investigating some serious accidents that occurred both in the Grand Bahama and the Abacos. I just want to address the fact that we have at this time 24 persons who are hospitalized after being involved in a traffic accident. And of that 24, 12 of those individuals are from the Abaco Island. Also in that number, we have a baby who's actually still in hospital after being involved in a traffic accident. We're again advising the general public, and it comes to our little darlings, to have them properly secured in the vehicle. There's a number of things, again, that we need to discuss. Reference to a number of overturned vehicles that we had to deal with as well, Mr. Allen. And along those numbers, we had to deal with vehicles that were broken down, and we also had to deal with vehicles who were driving in excess of the speed limit, which caused a number of these accidents involving serious damage and injury to individuals.
Now, Officer Johnson, a lot of information coming in there. Are those persons back at home may be wondering why my eyes are wet? Well, my eyes aren't wet from the rain. It's actually wet from some information you shared earlier. An incident obviously still under investigation, but 2 persons would have passed away as a result of a traffic incident, and they were doing everything right. You know, many times we get on the streets, we use our signals, turning signals, we put on our seatbelt, we drive with the appropriate speed, but somehow someone always decides to go against the rules. And so what advice can you offer to the motoring public, those who abide by the law, but also those who decide every so often to go against the law, what could happen.
Yes. Well, you know, we take for granted a lot of times when we're driving and we do exercising, whatever driving behavior we conduct on the street, we take that for granted. We take for granted the fact that even wearing a seatbelt can probably save your life. We take for granted even the fact of you ascertaining your way clear before entering the next lane can save your life or save the next driver's life. We take for granted that we're on the street, and when you're driving on the street, you're not driving not only for yourself, but for the other road users as well. So all of these things that we take for granted, but I just want to advise, again, the motoring public, the general public, is we had also an elderly female who was also injured during this time, and it is in hospital at this time, and the numbers are increasing for persons who are being hospitalized. So again, advising the motoring public, when you're driving on the street, it is not a game. It is not something that should be taken lightly. Your driving behavior can affect the lives of many other people. Please, as much as possible, if you're operating vehicles, you want to drive with the most extreme care and caution. You need to exercise as much as possible all of the practices that you would have learned while you were in driving school. If you're not sure about some of those practices, if you haven't practiced them in a while, go online and update yourself with the rules and regulations that's required of you as a driver. No matter where you're driving in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I just want to make an appeal now to the Abaco Islands and to the Grand Bahama Island. Please, if you're traveling on those streets, you know you don't have as much traffic as you usually would. You need to slow down. Please slow down. Again, those persons who are coming in close to that time limit that you're supposed to be home, plan your time ahead, that partying period. If you're going to indulge in any alcoholic beverages, any prescription drugs, you are not to be operating a vehicle. You need to allow someone to drive your vehicle or catch a ride.
And again, you know, my 2 bits of advice are drive defensively. Oftentimes, we can't avoid how other people drive, but we can control to some degree how we respond. And so that defensive driving that you would have learned in driving school, remember, that's not 10 years ago. That's today. It saved lives. Also, seatbelts as well help. Now, you know, we've seen several accidents where, unfortunately, persons wearing seatbelts have died. But oftentimes, those persons wearing seatbelts actually live. And so remember to wear your seatbelts as well. Any final words?
Yes, well, on a seatbelt note, of course, you know, we're out here on the road. I have my handy ticket book in my hand. And yes, I feel as if a ticket is just a little slap on your hand to say, hey, remember to do what it is that you're supposed to do. So again, we're advising you to please do what it is that you're supposed to do. You know what to do. As drivers in the Bahamas, we know exactly what to do. We have good driving practices going on. Like we addressed the past couple of weeks, we know that persons know what to do. So just encouraging you to please, when you get on the street, to do so with added care and caution to traverse our Bahama land.
And that completes your Tuesday morning traffic report. Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
A judge expected to hear submissions today in the case focusing on whether or not Bahamas Petroleum Company should be allowed to carry out exploratory oil drilling exercises in the southern Bahamas. This after presiding Justice Petra Hannah Weeks denied 3 applications from environmental groups Water Keepers Bahamas Limited and the Coalition to Protect Clifton seeking to stop the drilling activities. However, the applicants made another application for judicial review of the matter, and on Saturday, December 26th, the court indicated that an oral hearing on that application will take place today. Additionally, matters that were not addressed at the December 24th hearing will also be heard sometime today. The latest amendments to the emergency orders being issued on Sunday, the competent authorities stating that all non-guests seeking to access indoor facilities at hotel properties in the second schedule of islands must present a negative RT-PCR test or negative COVID-19 rapid antigen test valid for the period of 5 days from the date in which the test taken, except during the period of Monday, December 28th through Monday, the 4th, January 2021. During this time, the results should be no more than 7 days old. The latest orders also revealing that non-guests shall not be required to submit a RT-PCR or rapid antigen test in order to utilize any outdoor facility on the hotel premises, including restaurants and casinos and golf courses. The second schedule of islands includes New Providence as well as Rose Island, Paradise Island, and Abaco, with the exception on Green Turtle Key, Grand Key, Manowar Key, and Elbow Key. The latest amendments come on the heels of several major resorts, including Bahamar and Atlantis, welcoming back both guests and employees over the past few weeks. Education officials taking steps to ensure that the sitting of the national examinations go as smoothly as possible in 2021. This after there were a number of delays with the sitting of the exams as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We hope to God that we don't see another circumstance such as COVID-19, but us and our Cambridge evaluators and assessors are right now and have been for the last several months making every effort to secure our exams on time. As you know, our exams usually start at the end of March and go all the way into the middle of May. Yes, we are in the process right now with the Cambridge assessors to ensure that that is accomplished.
Still talking education, face-to-face instruction is expected to resume as early as February 2021, but Director of Education Marcellus Taylor says that students have already returned to the classroom on some islands.
Well, let's bear in mind that we do have face-to-face instruction going on already, right? Grand Bahamas being face-to-face since October, and right now it appears that we might be able to commence in February. If we are given the green light by health to commence in February, then we will do that.
Some good news for residents in the Family Islands in the new year. This as officials plan to make the application for passports a whole lot easier. Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Darren Henfield, says Family Islanders can expect to see the opening of new passport offices on a number of those islands.
We intend to open very early in the new year as well, passport offices in some of our family islands is one of the things that we mandated that we would do. Inagua, Eleuthera, Exuma, Long Island. We hope very soon to be able to open those offices, which will prevent those islanders. I think it's rather unfair that we have to travel from the island in order to get a passport, even though we've made tremendous strides and you can go and renew your passport online.
Water supplies in Long Island set for upgrades as a member of parliament for the area continues with an aggressive push in transforming the island's infrastructure. Now, according to Adrian Gibson, the island over the course of the next few months will benefit from the addition of 2 new reverse osmosis plants. The first phase in North Long Island is set to provide potable water to around 400 service connections, with dozens more set to come on stream by way of future developments.
At present, the current capacity, we've exhausted the current capacity with the amount of persons on the system, and you can see that based on the tanks at this location and the plants here. So what we are going to do now, we're going to expand our ability to service our customers by installing this new plant. This new plant would also consider the international airport. This plant has a capacity to produce some 265,000 gallons per day, which I think would take care of the community, any new development coming or happening, and of course, the new airport.
Chief Councillor Ian Knowles explains the critical need for dependable water supplies to residents.
The salt pond don't have no type of fresh water in there, neither does Clarence's. So all the settlement between actually Lochaber into Thompson Bay will have water. There's about almost 400 customers, new customers will be coming online. So this added facility where they have in there for the new Oro plant will provide water for those additional customers that are putting online.
And still to come, find out why traffic was backed up by the Town Center Mall on Monday. That story and more when the morning edition continues.
Hi, I'm Beverly Curry, host of Ordinary People.
And I'm Robert Johnson, the editor and the producer of this amazing show.
This is the season to be jolly, to be merry, and we are going to put some smiles on some faces.
Let's be real, 2020 sucked, but there are a lot more unfortunate people in the world than us.
This is a way of giving, and we intend to select 10 families who are less fortunate than us, and you would have to nominate that person, and we have a panel of judges who will select why that person is in need. So you write in and say why that person should be the recipient of what we are going to dish out.
Ordinary People this year is turning despair into hope.
Yes, we are transforming lives. We are putting that smile on your face. So it's Ordinary People doing
extraordinary things.
Merry Christmas
and a Happy New Year.
You are a healthcare
Welcome back. Turning our attention now to the latest figures coming in from the Ministry of Health on the COVID-19 pandemic. 8 new cases were recorded, 4 here in New Providence, 2 in Grand Bahama, and 1 each in Eleuthera and Andros. 7 of them are female and the other a male. 15 people are currently in hospital while the death toll stands at 170. Meantime, the national count of COVID cases stands at 7,842. Traffic came to a standstill on both sides of Blue Hill Road and Robinson Roads Monday morning. The Town Center Mall is one of several COVID-19 testing sites for Doctors Hospital. The location was the only one open to accommodate persons who needed to be tested. Chief Executive Officer at Doctors Hospital, Charles Seeley, says the company has seen an increase in testing at both locations.
Businesses are looking to safeguard both the environment for their employees as well as for the citizenry of the Bahamas. So that's a good thing. And so we're seeing a dial-up by the companies to ensure that their personnel gets tested. And this is separate and apart from what the government is doing through the airport, where persons are coming through the Bahamas health travel visa.
The recently appointed president of Super Value Food Stores, Deborah Simonet, says the early phases of the COVID-19 pandemic saw the company experiencing monetary losses from 7 to 10% on days when the emergency powers orders limited operational hours. She admits, though, that over a quarter of the sales averaged out due to peaks and lows.
I must say we've been fortunate. We've been able to maintain our sales. There have been some days that the sales were not the same because our hours, we weren't able to open for our usual hours. But as long as we're able to open, the business is there. People need to eat.
With the pandemic wreaking havoc locally and internationally, she says it also would have impacted the food store's purchases and access to inventory.
In the U.S., there was times when they faced challenges. Certain things weren't available or there was a lower supply. So we just had to work with that. If our usual supplier wasn't available, we sourced from other suppliers. And by doing that, we were able to maintain the flow. So it was not as bad as it could have been.
2020 will go down in the history books as the most formidable year in living memory, with the globe adversely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. As 2021 rolls in, leading life coach Simone Bowe says success in turbulent times requires emotional intelligence. She encouraged residents to set tangible goals this coming year.
What are the things that I need to learn this year as far as a new skill or mastery of a skill? What are the things that I need to do financially? What are my financial goals? What are my relational goals, my social goals, my spiritual goals? And really start to live with intention. I think a lot of times we just live randomly and we just expect things to happen. And if the right mix is in place, if the right government is in power, if the right people are in my life, then everything is going to work out. But when we do that, we take the power away from ourselves. We give it up to other people. And then when it doesn't happen the way we want it to, we blame them.
And on the other side of the break, the adjustments made by Adastra Gardens in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. You're watching The Morning Edition.
You are a healthcare worker. Thank you for fighting on the front lines against COVID-19. It is normal to feel stressed when taking care of others who don't feel well. But remember to take care of yourself. Don't forget to rest between shifts, eat healthy meals, engage in physical activity, and stay connected to family and friends. Avoid harmful coping strategies like drinking alcohol. For managers of healthcare workers, the same tips apply to you. Here's how you can help. Consistently give updates. Rotate staff between high and low stress level functions. Encourage work breaks and ensure that they know where they can find help. We are here for you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pinder. During this global pandemic, we ask for you to be responsible. As we fight the COVID-19 virus together, we would like to encourage you to do the following. Wash your hands. Cover your mouth and nose with a flex elbow or tissue when coughing and sneezing. Practice social distancing by staying 6 feet apart. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, and if you must go out, wear a mask. We stay here for you. Please stay home for us. To those of you on the front line, we salute you as we continue this fight together.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health in conjunction with GD Media Solutions and this television station.
During this pandemic, it is our duty to ensure that all citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocols. Not wearing a face mask is an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $200 or a term of 1 month imprisonment or both fine and imprisonment. I am Ambassador Jasmine Scott of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
The Bahamas Sickle Cell Association provides support for its members, but also works to create public awareness of the inherited red blood cell disorder. President Kayla Smith Mortimer says both parents must have the gene for their child to acquire the disease. If a child inherits just one gene, they have the sickle cell trait that produces no symptoms in most people.
A healthy cell is round, shaped like a donut. And for somebody who has sickle cell, when they're going into a crisis, the shape of that cell changes to moon crescent shape, and it becomes very sticky. And so they attach to each other and they stop at any place in the body, be it in an organ, in a vein, and then that becomes a very stressed area with pain. So fluids, water, oxygen, IV, and pain meds is what helps the person with it.
Smith Mortimer says a member recently turned 72 and it is possible to have a long life depending on a number of factors, including your lifestyle. The association is now attempting to start a registry to determine just how prevalent the blood disorder is in this country.
We have a lot of people who have the disease that don't tell you that they have the disease, and so we want to encourage them as well to contact us to be a part of the association, because we are a family. This is not just an association by name. We are very supportive, very caring for each other. So our numbers are not known, but in our membership, active membership, we have close to 200 persons involved, and that ranges from Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, Inagua, Eleuthera and Exuma as well, as Nassau.
Educating students about the many animals that it houses has been a huge component of the Adastra Gardens that recently reopened following a months-long closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Animal manager Andrew Haley says the facility used to host large school groups on field has also hosted outreaches where they would go to the schools and have children interact with some of the facility's animals. He says adjustments have been made and the program revamped to continue the education campaign.
What we've done during the lockdown, we've been coming up with a lot of virtual educational content. So we're basically working on different topics, and each topic we're gonna have a nice video shot where it's all things Adastra. We use the animals here and we cover just basic topics depending on what the classrooms may need. So, for example, classification or learning about the national symbols of the Bahamas. So we want to get those out. Teachers will be able to subscribe and get access to these videos. So instead of them coming to us, we're coming to them virtually. So it's going to be a cool thing. You know, it's going to come complete with, you know, craft or different activities to do along as well. So it's going to be a good learning experience. And we're just trying to just get creative, just like any other business that's been affected.
Haley says the videos should be completed by January, and school teachers who want access can simply reach out to officials at the Adastra Gardens. He says the Caribbean flamingos and snakes are popular for children, particularly the flamingos, because there are not many places where people can get close to them.
Them being very skittish animals, and the environment that they live in so far away from humans is virtually impossible. So that's definitely one of the big draws. Another one is the Bahamian boa. You know, a lot of people, they're afraid of snakes, but they don't mind seeing them from a safe distance. They don't mind learning about them. So yeah, definitely the snakes. I would say the Caribbean flamingos, and just all of the various birds, the parrots, the beautiful colors. The kids love to hear them talk. You know, we have a lot of macaws. You know, they heard their name just now. We have African gray parrots. I would literally have a conversation with you sometimes. Of course, we have the Bahama parrot, which is the species endemic to the Bahamas. You can't find it in many places. There's only really 2 places in the Bahamas now where you can find them. It's Abaco, 3 places.
And some food for thought. Around the world, the Christmas tradition is commonly celebrated as the birthing of baby Jesus, being born into the world as a savior to all. But there are some who believe that the tradition is misunderstood and say that from the African theological perspective, there remains a wealth of knowledge which can possibly shed new light on the reason for the season. Head pastor of the Holy Beatrick Church of Black Messiah, Dr. Cleveland Aeneas III, explains the day of Christmas.
We have from the 21st of December all the way until January 1st celebrations. So you'd see behind me the menorah, which is representative of Chanukah. I didn't say Hanukkah, but Chanukah, which is a period of 9 days from December 21st to the 29th, where we are lighting candles, we're feasting, we're celebrating, and this represents the feast, or what it means is the feast of sacred mental light. So this idea of educating the populace about who our true ancestors and who our true guardian angelic hosts are.
Aeneas explains that from his school of thought, this period is symbolic of enlightenment and the birth of Nazareth, also referred to as Yahshua Christ, and the resurrection of the Nazareth order. The remaining days, he says, celebrate the beginning of the tree of life, symbolized by a palm tree and not an evergreen, which may seem iconic to the season. Aeneas argues, while the belief of his church may be different, there are some biblical references which have guided followers into the practice, sharing common threads with Christianity.
When you read the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verses 1 through 5, they talk about this palm tree being upright. The symbolism with regard to what we call Judaism today, or even the monotheistic Greco-Roman Christianity today, comes out of the African theology, which is much older. I'm not saying it. You can read this in the Catholic Encyclopedia. You can read the writings of people such as Herodotus, where they talk about the reality of trees being lit and celebrations happening they were in Egypt, but it was happening all across Africa.
The local sporting community mourning the passing of 2 legends over the weekend. Bahamian golf pro Jim Duncombe passed away. He was 77 years old. Duncombe, who was a fixture in the local golf scene, was affectionately known as the Swing Doctor. Duncombe represented the Bahamas at the highest level, both regionally and internationally, before coming back to dominate the local scene. Resident golf pro Georgette Rowe reflected on Duncombe's legacy.
As a competitor, we all want to be remembered by our successes. But Jim's impact on the game in the Bahamas is so much greater than trophies on a shelf. The legacy he left is not about how many tournaments he won or the scores he shot. It was more about the impact on the youth who have grown to be the current leaders in the golf industry here in the Bahamas. Jim Duncombe was an advocate, supporter, golf instructor, father figure, and so much more to the golf community. Locally known as the Swing Doctor, he was the head golf professional at clubs, both here in the Bahamas, as well as in the United States. Many of you may not know that he was the first head golf coach at the University of the Bahamas. Many of the golfers here will definitely remember him for his swing circle, which helped to develop smooth swings with his high finish style.
The basketball community also mourning the passing of one of its own, known for his infamous half-court, hook shot, and infectious personality. Local mainstay Michael Scooter Reed lost his battle while in hospital. Reed, who served as a senior sport and recreations officer at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, played collegiate basketball at Liberty University before returning home, where he was staple in the primary school basketball scene as an official. He was also integral in establishing the Long Island Basketball Jamboree, as well as coaching players in the New Providence Basketball Association. President of the Bahamas Basketball Federation, Mario Boleg, remembered Scooter this way.
The basketball world is astounded and shocked by the passing of Michael Scooter Reed, despite his recent hospitalization. On behalf of the Bahamas Basketball Federation and the sporting community, I take this opportunity to express a grief, sadness, and sense of loss for such a principal contributor to basketball growth and development in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Michael Scooter Reed, as affectionately known, his sports involvements extend from being a collegiate and a national basketball team player to a fine administrator of the sport of basketball, whether it was a coach, both male and female at the high school and club levels, a referee, a tournament organizer, in particular the North Long Island Basketball Tournament, various park leagues, the prestigious Father Martian Peters Basketball Invitational, or as a full-time officer at the Ministry of Youth and Sports and Culture.
And that's a wrap for us this morning. For the entire morning team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a great day, everyone.
From all of us here at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, have a Merry Christmas.